I'm asked all the time, love you too. I'm asked all the time, what makes USANA different? To me, the answer is us. Everyone here at convention and around the world. It's USANA's core values: excellence, integrity, community, and health. And they're important to all of us. I truly believe that's what sets us apart. But that's pretty high level. And for someone who really doesn't know the company, I would break it down like this. I would start with our vision: the healthiest family on earth, right? Created by Dr. Wentz for USANA, we put science and quality first. I would talk about USANA being a stable, publicly traded company that's been around 26 years, and we're working on the next 26 years. I would mention our pride in being a direct selling company that pays out 44 commissions to our sales field. That's wonderful. And I would end with specifics about our products. We manufacture roughly 80% of our products in-house, and all of our products are tested in a certified USANA lab. There are other reasons that we're unique, but that's what I tell people when they ask me what makes USANA different. What do you think? Who here has been to either our Salt Lake City facility or our Beijing facility for a tour? Well, I don't think that's good enough. I'm going to take us on a virtual tour of one of our areas in our manufacturing facilities at both Salt Lake and Beijing, our tableting. Now, just a warning, okay? The studios have done a fantastic job, and part of this video has some quick moving parts. So this is my Disney warning. If by chance you get car sick, seasick, motion sick, there's going to be some fast areas you might need to look away. But unlike Disney, you can actually look away. Your destiny is right there in your own eyes. Just close your eyes and you start feeling a little off. Now on with the show. For those of you who have been to a USANA facility, maybe a leadership summit, a goal meeting, you know that we always invite you and welcome you as a team by clapping our hands for everyone when you come in. And the reason for that is our home office is all about our sales field. It's about everyone here at convention. Without you, USANA wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be with a goal of $1.2 billion this year. Our facilities are set up for tours. If you've been around them, you can actually look in windows and see our people manufacturing our products every day. What we start off with is we talk about our raw materials. Our quality begins with finding and bringing in the best raw materials. But actually, it starts with our vendors. We travel to every one of our vendors where we get our materials and do quality tests to make sure that we can first believe what they tell us and know that they're coming from a clean environment and meeting our standards. Our raw materials, to start, are all put into a traceability system with barcodes so that in fact we always know what's in our products and what you're getting. But I'll talk about that in just a few more minutes. That's before we even get into the first stop of our tour, the analytical lab. Even though we trust our vendors and they send in certifications on raw materials and we know that they're right, we still take the time to test every raw material before we put it into production. It's very conservative, but again, with Dr. Wentz's vision, quality and safety are first. We have millions of dollars of equipment and a whole lot more. Here's another look at the lab. One example I always talk about are our cell essentials. We test over 1,000 attributes of the raw materials and the process when we make cell essentials. It's amazing, and we make lot after lot each week of cell essentials. As you can see, the environments that we have are very clean. We protect both the products from a raw material standpoint. It all starts with a very clean air, as well as making sure that we have the right clothing on to protect our products. Which, like I was saying, it also means that everyone needs to dress properly. So let's go up to the gowning area. Like I mentioned, we dress for GMPs, good manufacturing practices, which requires that at all times, literally we get nothing physical from our bodies or the surrounding air onto our products or in the lab. We have gloves, pants, lab coats, shoe covers, hair nets, beard nets, the list goes on. Literally at our Asia Pacific convention, I gave a very similar talk and we all put hair nets on. It was one of my favorite things to force everyone to put hair nets on. It was amusing. Now, once raw materials are approved, they're ready to become part of the process. Let's go to the mixing and dispensing area. When you look at these areas, they're extremely clean. And for those who have visited the facilities, you can see cleanliness is pretty much part of the process, as well as safety, both for our products and our employees. All of our walls are made so that we wash them down. You're seeing examples, but when we do a cleanup, we start from the top to the bottom, and that includes the ceiling. Formway is a critical piece. You can see this happening now, and that's a system that has checks and balances to make sure, for example, a product might have as many as 35 ingredients, that we get the right products into dispensing, as well as the right amounts, and it's all barcoded to make sure and guarantee that every time we sell a product, it's exactly by formulation. Because the materials are gravity fed, we need to take a long ride downstairs to where we blend our products together. So hold on. So blending is the first very technical process that we have. There's many parts to it to make sure that everything is blended correctly, as well as to make sure there's no contaminants or large pieces. In the blenders, there's sifters that make sure there's no clumps, as well as there's any foreign material. We've already done some checks and balances, but again, to make sure there's another system in place. V-blenders, as the ones shown here, are what we usually use, and we have those both in our Salt Lake facility as well as Beijing. And usually we run a lot for 18 to 22 minutes. Okay. When I say usually for 18 to 22 minutes, we know specifically how long we run a lot. For example, if we're running Hepasil, we may run it for 18 minutes and 45 seconds. That would be the same every time. One of the areas that we've stepped up as a company, we talk about pharmaceutical grade GMPs as a standard, is validations. We validate our processes, which basically means we might have 10 or 15 processes to make a product. We run each step 3 times, check it to make sure it's exactly the same. This ensures at the end, or every time we get a production lot, that it's exactly the same. When you look at your label contents, we know 100% that you're getting what's on the label. It's very important to us. You can see here there's bulk bags. We then use bulk bags to move it to our next areas, and we'll go from here and take a short ride to USANA's tablet presses. Now, I would say that we have 12 tablet presses between China and the US, but that's actually already changing. We're going to have more in just a few months. But this is an example you see of a high-speed tablet press. Some amazing facts, and the tableting area is literally my favorite process. We can run tablets at 500,000 tablets an hour. To me, it's amazing. The other parts that's amazing about that is during that run, which is very quick, we have single pill rejection, tablet pill rejection, which means during the run at those speeds, if there's something wrong with weight or it's deformed, the tablet will actually be spit out and quarantined during that run. It's actually that tablet and 2 or 3 of its friends on the front and back just to make sure we get it. We sample our tablets every 30 minutes, so of course the machine's doing a lot of work like I talked about, but we also take batches, small batches in, and then we do 5 or 6 different checks. We want to make sure that those tablets dissolve in our stomachs in a reasonable amount of time, 20 minutes or less. We also make sure that they're thick enough, that they look correct, because again, we use all natural colors. There's nothing added, so we want to make sure that there's nothing, no particulars that would make us feel that doesn't represent USANA, so that's part of the inspection process. And again, there's one more step in the tablet, and that's going to our coder, so let's go check that out. Now, of every tour, I'd say most every tour, this is the question I always get, is why do we code? Why do we code our tablets? And we code most of our tablets, there's only a few exceptions. The reality is we code our tablets because they're all natural, meaning they do not taste very good, okay? I've been at gold tours, I've been at leadership summits, I've seen once or twice people will actually take a health pack and chew them up and swallow them. Let me not recommend that to you. If that's your stance, maybe some water would go a long way. But really, we code so that you can swallow them and start the digestion very easy. All of our tablets are coded except a few, and there are chewables just for that simple fact, because they're expected to be chewed. Again, it does one more, or helps with one more area, coding. It helps also when you open your bottles with the tablets being coated, there's not a lot of fine dust inside, because again, that coating holds the tablet together. And when people say it, they kind of look at this, and if you're from areas that have washer and dryers, large ones, side washer and dryers, they look like a dryer. It's pretty much that. We shoot coating on it, as well as at the same time we're drying it. It's very technical. We know exactly how much coating and the time period, but it literally is like a washer and dryer. Okay, tablets make one more stop. They go to an inspection process. Now, I get the question of why do you inspect when you have all those checks and balances? And the reason really is we do random inspections of lots. And we want to make sure that we look at every tablet, this is literally 100% inspection, to look for long-term trends, to see if there's color discolorations, if there's issues with the size or maybe the look of the tablet, so that we can make changes for the future. It's really not a process because we're concerned we need one more quality check. It's more of an overall process. Now, tablets are now ready to go inside a bottle. Let's go see how that happens. Between our China and US facility, we have 5 bottling lines right now. That number, again, is going to increase shortly. If you look at the area, it's very clean, just like every one of our operating areas, but we don't have any cardboard or paper, which would be easy to bring in because a lot of times that's how it's packaged, to make sure that we get no contaminants in the building, as well as just positive air pressure, which means that nothing's being allowed to get into the area. We go a step further and turn our bottles over and clean them out. Again, we know our manufacturers have cleaned them, but we go that step further to make sure that nothing gets in to contaminate it. We have tablet counters, of course. They're sets of 6 or 2 sets of 3. Very accurate. We have metal detectors. When I get that, people ask, don't you check for metal? Well, in the lab, we check for metals in the raw materials. These metal detectors are really looking for pieces of equipment. They are stainless steel and something could break. It ensures that there's no piece of metal that can get to you. We have weight checkers. Again, it's just another way to verify that the bottle weighs exactly what it should. So if we've counted out and it has 56 tablets, it would also have a specific weight. It's another way to make sure that that counts there. Then one of the areas that's very important to it is label verification. We're required to make sure we account for every label. That's required from the FDA, the TGA, the CFDA in China. So literally we make sure if we get 10,000 labels that they came in that way by counting them, and after each run we have to know exactly where every label is at. This goes into lot traceability. Every one of our bottles, products, health pack, Celandine, whatever it is, has lot traceability where there's barcodes on it. And this really means if we ever have an issue, and we never have, we'd be able to identify exactly what you purchased and know if there was an issue with that raw material. Very, very important. USANA products are now ready to come down and go a long, long distance to our shipping line, so hold on. I warned everyone about getting sick, and I'm watching it upside down. I'll probably be the one who gets sick. So in the U.S., we ship roughly 20,000 packages a week. I won't go through the list, but you understand very quickly that we're shipping hundreds of thousands of packages a week. They're very high tech. Again, they're barcoded to make sure of our accuracy. And in the U.S., our standard is 99.955% accurate, as well as our standard around the world. We're very proud of our shipping process. We have opportunities on speeds and how quickly they get there. But the process of pick and pack is something that we know we do well, and we do it well around the world. Now, I'm sorry to say we've reached the end of our tour. And again, this is just one section of the tour tabulating. A tour usually lasts an hour to 2 hours at any of our facilities. As you can see, quality is very important to us. To us, quality is not just one step in the process, it's every step. It begins before we even start manufacturing. Self-manufacturing, we self-manufacture 80% of our products, and over the next few years, that number is going to get even higher. It also ensures we always put science and quality first. So again, when I'm asked what makes USANA different, I can proudly say, we're 26 years strong and working on the next 26. We were created by Dr. Wentz with a vision of putting science and quality first, and we have complete control of our processes throughout manufacturing. This morning is showing your support for your team. I'm a huge Dolphins fan. I'm assuming that's up there. Yeah, all the way down to my shoes. So support your team. Thanks for coming to convention. I hope you've had a great time. Thank you very much.